him a reasonable extension like he's asking for. I think I want to put out there that from all the sports media and sports talk shows that was reporting on Dalvin Cook is that he's not asking to be the highest paid running back. He is asking to be reasonably compensated. So I don't think he's looking for that Todd Gurley or that Ezekiel Elliott money that we see contract settled for in the last couple of seasons. I think he's just looking to get a little bit more money because he has outperformed that rookie contract. I have a stat for you by Pro Football Focus that rated him the fifth best running back in the NFL for the 2019 season. So, and he has his injury history of getting injured. So that's one thing that's kind of hurting him. But I think if the Minnesota Vikings want to lock up the NFC North division for the next couple of years with the Aaron Rodgers, on the back end of his career with no weapons surrounding him, with the Chicago Bears quarterback room is in shambles, I think they need to lock up Dalvin Cook for the next 4 years to have a shot of winning that division multiple years in a row. So that's just my take on it, Roland.
Hey, you feel the same way out there, Justice? Should Dalvin Cook be reaching by holding out and wanting to renegotiate that contract?
When he is healthy. I think Jeremy highlighted a very key sentence in this whole situation. Dalvin Cook had a great year last year, but when he is healthy is the highlighting point. Going back to college, he struggled with injuries. His rookie year, he goes down with the ACL. I got to be honest, when I first saw this report, I kind of laughed at him. I wasn't sold on his health, could he stay healthy? But, I kind of took a step back, and I kind of thought about the running backs in this league. And they probably are the worst treated position in the whole game. If you look at it, these running backs get drafted. They get used up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, depending on what round they go. And if they're good, they get hit with the franchise tag. Like Le'Veon Bell, they can get hit with it again. And then, after that franchise tag, teams don't want to pay. And they kind of throw these running backs away at 28, 29 years old.
Right.
And, I think Dalvin Cook has every right to do this. I think he should. As a running back, they take the most punishment, and they got to look out for themselves. And, like Jeremy said with the new CBA, I hope he doesn't take it too big in the pockets, but, man, go for yours. Look out for yourself.
Yeah, we've seen this story before, right? We just had this happen with Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, he even took his holdout a little bit, chaotic to say the least, because he left and went down to Mexico. And I'm not talking about New Mexico. My man went and laid on the beach while he was holding out, wanting to renegotiate his contract. So I think you all have very valid points. Jeremy, I think going back to what you mentioned, and I guess I'm chiming in on this one because not that I'm halfway through. I think I've gotten through the first 150 some odd pages of a 400-page document. But that collective bargaining agreement, when you look at the sure fines and the numbers and the requirements that go along with a decision like this, the biggest thing I hope for Dalvin Cook is that, to the point, you better stay healthy, my friend. You better be healthy and literally carry out that contract. The last thing you want, or I should say what you don't want, is to establish a contract of that level, turn around, not perform, and now the general managers and the owners are looking at you later down the line, and trust me, you're not going to be high on the pecking order. So that is something for all of us to keep an eye out on, whether or not Dalvin Cook is going to get his way. Kind of like Dak. I totally agree with you guys. By numbers alone, sure numbers alone, yes, his contract definitely should be renegotiated. But if he can't remain healthy, if he can't be committed to the bigger cause of the team, if he can't be committed to the preseason meetings and all the preconditioning requirements that are there, then once again, you're putting yourself in a predicament where you could go in. Yes, you got your big contract, but now you become a nuisance to the team. So that's something that he's going to have to tread really lightly with. But I think at the end of the day, he'll get a contract renegotiated. He'll get that extra money, and hopefully he stays healthy and he can make a deep run or help the team make a deep run into the playoffs. So we're going to go ahead. We won't take a break right now, guys, because I really want to get to this next topic, and that is the recent decision. And this one here, of course, has major implications, and that is the Hall of Fame game has now been canceled. Jeremy, out in Indiana, what's your thoughts on this game being canceled? Is this a first step or potentially a first step in the NFL really paying attention to what's going on with COVID-19 across this country? What do you believe is going to happen from the Hall of Fame game cancellation? Or do you think it's just one isolated game that got canceled and that's all she wrote?
Well, this was definitely the first blow for the NFL this offseason as far as dealing with COVID. You know, they went full bore with the NFL draft. They did that virtually. That's something they could get done. So they continued on there without a hitch. That went off great. But this, with getting people in the stands and having a big crowd and celebrating, you know, this momentous occasion for 7 people going into the Hall of Fame getting canceled, that's definitely a blow to what the NFL was kind of preaching here, that everything's going to be fine. We're going to do everything right on schedule. Like you said, it'll be interesting to know whether this is kind of just an isolated incident as far as players being diagnosed recently. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott was diagnosed. He posted on Twitter the other day that he feels fine. He's asymptomatic for the most part, but he hasn't been able to work out because of COVID. So right there you have the star player on Dallas who was supposed to be in that game, and I understand star players don't really play in that game. It's not really what it's there for. But I think it's more of a precursor to see what could happen to preseason games. I do think the NFL still has every intention of starting the regular season on time. We'll just kind of have to see and weather these waters as to see if the cases continue to spike, especially among NFL players, since some workouts have started and whatnot. So we're going to have to be patient here, and hopefully, you know, the football season can start on time.
Yeah, what do you say, Robert? What's your thoughts on the Hall of Fame game being canceled?
If you ask me, Roland, I really think this is a major blow moving forward in regards to COVID-19. And the reason why I say this is because earlier in the year, the NFL took a hard stance and pretty much saying, hey, we're going to do all events that we had laid out. And of course, just like Jeremy mentioned, the draft went full speed, but it was virtually. And then moving forward, the NFL said the season's going to start on time. We're going to have a protocol. We're going to have procedures in place, but everything's going to be, you know, it's going to be a regular season. And now we get this news of the Hall of Fame game being canceled. I mean, we've seen Hall of Fame games being canceled before, so it's precedent there. But when those years that the Hall of Fame game got canceled, it was due to, you know, a lockout or it was due to bad field conditions. So I think this year's a little different. Moving forward, I was optimistic about the NFL starting on time, but with the COVID spike, we could see a potential delay in the start of the season, or if not a delay in the start of the season, at least preseason games being cut down to help with the contraction of the virus moving forward. So we shall see, though, Roland.
Yeah, I hear you there. There are so many variables into how do you go about one of the largest watched events that, you know, this country has when it comes to sports, and dealing with the pandemic of COVID-19. How do you go about, you know, making sure that the health and safety of the public can be assured in a arena? That's a challenge. That is a huge challenge for any part of NFL leadership to kind of wrestle with. I think sometimes we look at the bottom dollar and we look at the economics that are behind it, but at the end of the day, we got to take care of the health of the public, and I think this is just it's sad, no doubt about it, that the game got canceled, but especially recently with some of the uptick in numbers, with some of the infections, it just makes me wonder what will happen during the shortened preseason. Let's say the numbers tend to spike even more. Will we have to cancel a season, like literally in the middle of the season? That's something I think nobody wants, but at the end of the day, I'm a huge proponent of making sure that the health and the safety of the public comes first. I understand the economics behind it. I know it's a huge blow to the pocketbook, but I'd rather have that happen than people lose their lives. What do you say out there in New York, Justice? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think people are pushing the panic button a little bit too soon for me. Everyone's crammed in their house, they're itching for sports, and seeing this, it's like the worst thing that could happen. Like, let's take a step back for a minute. The NFL has been talking about shortening the preseason for a few weeks now. So the cancellation of the Hall of Fame game, it's not really surprising to me. I've seen reports that everything I've seen so far, they're looking to shorten the preseason to, cut down on the virus. But training camp it's set to go. They're scheduling it for July 28th. They want all the players to report there. Everything seems positive. I've even seen reports that, starting July 16th, the NFL Health Association are going to start testing everyone 3 times a week to make sure, it doesn't spread or anything like that. So I think everyone's hitting the panic button a little bit. They've been talking about this for weeks. They want to shorten the preseason. It's kind of meaningless games. The only people it really affects and hinders GMs and these guys fighting for roster spots. That's the only people who are affected by this. I don't see why people want to panic so early. This is something they talked about. I think the real issue is, obviously everyone's safety, but all signs point to the season starting on time. I just hope, that these kids can go out there and, show what they're made of, and probably only 2 games to play.
Yeah, I definitely hear you there. So I think there's arguments to be made on both sides of the aisle. I think you have some very valid points there, Justice. Maybe there's a little bit of hitting the panic button too early right now. But at the same time, knowing some of the reports that are coming out of the CDC, understanding what is transpiring across this nation right now, I think this one is going to be quite interesting to see how you go about making sure that the safety of the public is assured, and which I think in this particular case, that you have to put some very unique parameters in place to make sure that an entire stadium could be set up in a very preventative manner. I don't think you can, but we'll wait and see what the NFL puts together. Definitely sad, everybody who's chiming in. Definitely that the Hall of Fame game is not going to be had, but hopefully at some point we'll get past this as a nation, we'll get past this as a people, and we can have some brighter days ahead. So as we get ready to, kind of finish this session up, I want to take the opportunity, especially for those who are watching, whether that's on Facebook Live or someone who is actually on live with us on Spreaker. We'll also be out on Spotify and YouTube and SoundCloud. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is an experience that myself and my colleagues here had. So we were at the NFL Combine earlier this year, and while we left the event, I don't remember exactly what event we left. I think we might have had just finished